guys, Valtoriously awoken here. Now, remember when I did that Dracula video on Dracula's Untold on how powerful he was and how much of a great movie I thought it was and stuff. Now, we're gonna be doing on the mummy, well, two different mummies from Ahmanet and the mummy from the 1999 and the 2001 mummy Imhotep. We're gonna start off with Imhotep first. Now, Imhotep, you know, obviously he and Anox and the moon. You know, they kind of like killed the, I guess what you would call him, like I guess the priest or something. Then he had a fate that was worse than death. And you know, a couple of years later, well, I shouldn't say a couple of years, like a couple, oh yeah, like a few centuries or millennia, you know, later, that's when, you know, Evie accidentally read the book, woke him up. And here's the thing, when the man was summoning meteors, like, I had to rewatch the movie because the first couple of times I've seen the first movie, it was kind of a little bit hazy because it was like years ago. So I had to rewatch the movie again and see like what power, how powerful he was. Now, oh my god, I don't know if it was because of the curses or it was all on him, but the man was summoning meteors. I was like, oh shit, the dude was summoning meteors. I'm like, was this like before his time or what? Like, the fool was summoning meteors. So I was like, okay, it could have been probably because of the curse, right? And then, you know, he kind of did the whole sand tsunami storm type thing on that Gaara type shit from Naruto. So I was like, all right, I see you like that. And you know, basically for him, you need, in order for him to have to hit I'm tongue tied here. In order for him to get killed, you had to use the Book of Life, because the Book of the Dead brought him back to life, and the Book of the Living actually takes his life. So the thing is with that was when you had Rick O'Connor and you know, Evie and Jonathan, when she read the book, that's when, you know, that's like, you see like this, I don't know if it was like a blue horseman because it just came and it took his soul. So I was like, it wasn't Anubis or anything, it was just like some blue, you know, thing on a horse, and he just took his soul, and then he was mortal again. So I was like, yeah, it seems like that was like the only way of beating him at the time. And then, you know, transitioning on to the Mummy Returns, it was kind of, I wouldn't say it was difficult, but when he came back, like, it seems like he wasn't at his full power. Like, it was just like, oh, you know, he had telekinesis, but he was able to like use or manipulate like water, and he got like a water tsunami type thing. And I was like, okay, you know, the mummy's, he's not just manipulating like sand and undead corpses and stuff, because that was also another one of his things, was to manipulate the dead. But he was able to like manipulate water elements and stuff. So I was like, that's pretty good, you know, that's pretty interesting and stuff. So I was like, if the man would have like let's just say like he would have beaten the O'Connors and stuff, right, and he would have had like his full power, it's no question of what the man would have been doing. Like, he, like, once when he probably would have resurrected Anox and Amun, and and it just would have been them, I think nobody wouldn't have been able to like stop this dude, because again, he's doing this crazy stuff, and we don't even know what else he probably would have been doing. Like I said, the fool, meteors was coming down, and I'm like, and then he was able to like block out the sun and have like a total eclipse. I was like, god dang, I'm like, well, yo, like, I was kind of like, yo, this was kind of before people's times here for summoning meteors and blocking out suns and shit. I was like, okay, like, Imhotep was pretty busted back in the days, you know, kind of thinking about it. I was like, yeah, it was pretty busted. But now in the Mummy Returns, when you had when he was fighting up against the Scorpion King, that Imhotep, like, he was depowered, because when he went into like the Scorpion King's like palace, and then he walked through like the I guess it was like the Scorpion like Senju, or symbol, I should say. It was like a symbol, and that's when they like stripped him of his powers. So you would think that if he would have had his full powers from the first movie without it actually being taken away, and if he would have had the Scorpion King's bracelet on, and maybe you've done the correct procedure onto beating the Scorpion King without his powers being taken away, then we would have seen like a different outcome, where it like Imhotep probably would have beaten the Scorpion King, because even though, yeah, you know, The Mummy Returns, like the movie, you know, I guess the effects wasn't really that good, but I mean, you can't really blame it because it was back then compared to now, where you got like the graphics and the crazy things that you can do now. Like, fuck it, look at Transformers with the explosions. Like, Jesus, you see how sexual and realistic Michael Bay be putting into his movies and shit. But you know, with Mummy Returns and the whole Scorpion King thing, yeah, it was like a completely different beast back then, because you know, and you got to keep in mind that if Imhotep would have defeated the Scorpion King and took his army, that would have been it. Not only would he have undead soldiers, but he would have had the army of Anubis, because when Rick's friend was fighting up against like Anubis's army, yeah, he was able to take out, his team, the Magi, you know, team was able to take out I would say like what, a few, well, I wouldn't say like a few, but like a couple of thousands of his troops. And then after for a while, that's when more, like millions of them was coming back down and shit. So he was like, oh shit, like it was about to die, until, you know, Rick killed you know, he killed the Scorpion King and stuff, and that's when, you know, he died. And then Imhotep, love Anaxnamun, she refused to save him, and then that's when he just fell into the underworld and stuff. But it was already too late, because when he had his power like stripped from him, he was only able to do just like a little bit, like I say probably like 10% of his power, but the rest of it was gone. Like I say in the Mummy Returns movie, he only had probably like 50% of his power. I say that either 50 or 40, you know, maybe percent of his power and stuff, compared to you know, in the first movie, where like I said, like meteors was coming down and the whole eclipse thing was happening and stuff. But you know, like I said, back in the days, for a very busted mummy, he was pretty powerful. And stuff. And you know, leading on to Ahmanet, she basically, they did take like stuff from like the first and second mummy movies and stuff, and they put it towards her. And she, you know, can suck the life force just like Imhotep. She can summon like crazy sand tsunamis just like he could. But then, you know, it was kind of, and also able to control the living and, you know, manipulate the dead and stuff. So it was like, it always the same thing. But I would say that both mummies like kind of like have like something similar where it comes to love, because with them it's always about, they need love and connections and stuff, because Imhotep wanted to resurrect Anaxnamun, and she was trying to take or bring back Set, so that way they, you know, she can love him and then they can rule the world together, you know, some type of, you know, crazy shit like that. But you know, that's like it, you know, that's pretty much it. She didn't really have like too much crazy feats, even though despite how the movie wasn't really that good, because again, you had Tom Cruise. Nobody kind of cared for Tom Cruise. They only cared for her, and personally, she's fine and she was perfect. You know, she was perfect to be the next mummy to set it up. So, you know, you would have Luke Evans, her, and if they decide to make like a Frankenstein and some other you know, monster, you know, type people to build up for the dark universe, that would have been great. But unfortunately, it didn't really go down that way. So now we just stuck with no dark universe for now. You know, we kind of stuck with that for now. But yeah, you know, comparisons between like her and Imhotep was pretty, and he was smart too. That was like one thing he also had, because the man was pretty, you know, he was smart, because when his lackeys decided to bring him back in The Mummy Returns, and he was like, what year is this? And he was like, oh, it's the year of the Scorpion. And he was smiling because he was like, yeah, I know what's happening, because, you know, he's you know, he knows the story of, you know, the Scorpion King. He sold the soul to Anubis, and that's when you know, Anubis was like, oh, you know, you're gonna have this army, you're gonna come back, and you're gonna, I guess, destroy the world or something under the Scorpion King's name. And then Imhotep's job was to defeat him and then take his army and stuff. That's what I said before, man. Imhotep was he was a little slick dude and stuff. Even when one of his lackeys, when he got taken, he said, "Imhotep, save me, Imhotep, Imhotep, save me." And he said, I think he said why or something, and that's when the Scorpion King just ripped them apart. So I was like, yo, it was funny because he doesn't care. He doesn't care about his men. He only cared about himself and Anaxinamun and shit. He doesn't care. So I was like, you know, it was cool. It was cool and stuff. But yeah. That's like, I'd probably say that probably like concludes, you know, how strong he is and how he was, you know, doing that crazy shit. Cause you know, when you seen in the Mummy Returns, like I said, he also did like water, tsunamis. He had telekinesis. Still able to kind of like scare off the dead and manipulate the dead to a degree, but it wasn't like in the first movie where it was busted, but it was a little bit more to his rage and stuff, and more to his power. But unfortunately, I don't think there's gonna be any other Mummy movies because nobody mentioned the third Mummy movie, the rise of the return of the Dragon Emperor. I think that movie was a sucky movie. Yeah, I think that also too was a sucky movie, but nobody really counted that. Or the fact that Imhotep, I think, was supposed to come back. I don't know, but it was such a long time ago. But yeah. If you like what you heard what you like, you know, please subscribe, share, do all that wonderful stuff, and I'll catch you later.